Oh, we can't hear you, Lovey. Nope, we still can't hear you. Not now. Good thing we're testing this. We'll get back to you, Henry. How about you, Summer, with that gorgeous baby in your lap? What's your intention tonight?
Print out my script. Working on printing out my script.
Okay. And who's this lovely guest who doesn't have a name?
What's that?
Beautiful guest here in the purple shirt.
Woodland.
Yeah. I see you smiling. What's your name?
Communicate effectively.
Yay, communicate Woodland. Go Woodland.
Hey, Woodland. Glad you're on. This is Connie. Mine is growth and fun.
Growth and fun. I love it. Who's that Mimi in the back? Who's that pretty lady in the background there with the blue shirt on? What's your name?
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. What's your intention tonight?
Learning
And?
and technique.
Okay, great learning technique. How about you, Hyun? It's 6:55. Let's go.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and all our wonderful guests. I'll be serving as our Sergeant at Arms this evening. So if everyone can please mute themselves for the pledge. I know my video's not great, but we can see the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to now hand over the meeting to our President Shastri Stewart.
Back like this.
You can't hear you, Shastri. Connie, can you mute yourself, please?
Was I muted?
There you go.
I was muted on my phone. That's my apologies. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. I'm glad to be here for another wonderful Monday meeting. Like I said, I was going to say my two words, which is time management and excitement. So thank you, Stacy, for starting us on time. Without further ado, I'll recite our mission statement, which is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. Hopefully our meeting runs smoothly. Our Toastmaster of the day is the one and only Sobia. Please put your hands together to welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Sobia Saeed.
Thank you, respected President Toastmasters Shastri Stewart. The theme of our meeting today is expectations. And Toastmaster Javier A. Perez, please can you present us with the invocation for today's meeting? Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Subia. First of all, can you all hear me?
Yes.
I'm not on mute? Excellent. So expectations. It's a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. So first of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to deliver the first invocation that I have done in Toastmasters. So I'm going to ask you a question. Please lower your expectations. I believe that success lies in managing the art of three things: the expectations of self, expectations of others, and setting the right expectations. If we manage those three things right, You'll raise your confidence, you won't be disappointed, and you will gain trust from others. So when you're managing your expectations, compare yourself only to who you were in the past. Don't compare yourself to others. When expecting of others, I would like to repeat what Alexander Pope said. Blessed is he who expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. And 3, the art of setting the right expectations. Let's not overpromise and underdeliver. Let's do the contrary so we can build trust. So fellow Toastmasters, as we go through today's meetings, let's keep these 2 things in mind. Each of us is better than we used to be. 2, this Toastmasters Club is the best club ever, and we support each other without judgment. And hopefully this was not as bad as an invocation as you expected. Mrs. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Javier Perez. As Toastmaster of the Day, I serve you as the Master of Ceremony. For the benefits of our guests and new members, a traditional Toastmaster meeting has 3 sections. 1, formal speeches, 2, table topics, and 3, evaluations. So please use your copy of today's agenda, in which members are serving in each roles, and I would strongly encourage you to provide feedback to the speakers and functionaries. Suggestion being 2 areas that you enjoyed and 1 or 2 areas in which they can improve. Throughout the meeting, our members will have the opportunity to practice their listening, critical thinking, and management skills by serving in various roles. Toastmaster Mark Kessler, please explain your role as an accounter, please.
Roy, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. The purpose of the R counter is to note any word or sound used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections. Madam Toastmaster of the Day, also, I will be using this fine, handy-dandy light fixture here in order to signal the fact that you've used one of these interjections improperly. Complete.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark Kessler. By the way, I love your accent. It reminded us, it took me back to British.
Very nice. Hello.
Toastmaster Henry Dow, please explain your role as a grammarian.
Mic check, can everybody hear me? Fantastic. Excuse the background noise. I'm not home right now. So if you hear rustling and bustling, please excuse that. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Today's word is prospect. So a little note on the word of the day. One of the things that I've been trying to improve on is my vocabulary. And I didn't realize it till now, but the word of the day is a way for you to expand your vocabulary. So I encourage everybody to use the word of the day, prospect. And the meaning of prospect is the possibility or likelihood of some future event occurring. An example of the word being used: graduates of a good school usually have excellent prospects for finding employment. The prospect of a recession may lead investors to pull their money out of the stock market. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Henry Dow. And I would like to acknowledge in front of everyone that I called Henry around 5 o'clock and I said, can you please be my grammarian? So I would really appreciate it. And I see great prospect for you being successful in your future by stepping into role at 11th hour and doing it such an awesome job. Thank you, Toastmaster Henry. Toastmaster Summer Matthews, can you please explain your role as a timer?
Toastmaster of the Day, I'm responsible for monitoring time for each speaker. I operate the timing signals to indicate speech length. Timing begins with the first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. As general timer, whoever is speaking and has control of the meeting, please pay attention to the red color behind me, as this means you will wrap up where you are quickly, professionally, and efficiently as possible. I'll show you quickly the red card. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Summer Matthews. Toastmaster Shastri Stewart, can you please explain your role as a general evaluator?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. If one thinks of a club meeting as a project, then think of the general evaluator as a quality control manager or a conductor. I'll be commenting on the overall flow of today's meeting and giving feedback. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shastri Stewart. So let's move on to the first section of our meeting, which is formal speeches. And these are specific projects based in our communication manuals or our Pathways program. This evening, we have 3 speakers. Toastmaster Connie Andrews, can you please provide us with the project information for our first speaker, Stacy Kessler?
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, all Toastmasters and guests. Speech title for Stacy is My Authentic Self, Dissolving My Inner Self-Critic. This is an icebreaker. It is 4 to 6 minutes. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmasters Connie Andrews. Toastmaster Stacy Michelle is celebrating her completion of her first path in Toastmaster International Pathways program. She will begin her new path in Pathways called Persuasive Influence with her icebreaker today. Please welcome Stacy Michelle with a round of applause. Toastmaster Stacy.
Love isn't a program in your brain. It's the operating system itself. Relationship science now knows that everyone has an attachment or a style of love, that's your language, that's been up and running since you were a little boy or a little girl. Early loving relationships actually wire your brain, creating a template for making all of your future experiences. The operating system of love could look like confidence, courage, commitment, compassion, empathy, trust, intimacy, inner peace, sexiness. I like to refer to that operating system as my authentic self. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and to our dignitary, Heon Green. Now we're going to talk about something that is an operating system that most of us don't realize, that we are operating 95% of the time out of our brain, which is like the old storage system, right? What I just spoken to was up until the age of 7 years old, we were creating this brain, and this was the foundation of all of the people that we loved. And of course, all of where we developed our fear, which are stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. When they release, your blood pressure increases, your heart rate increases, you start breathing faster, even your blood flow changes. And blood actually flows away from your heart and into your limbs, making it nearly impossible to think clearly or to even breathe. How many of you have been angry and have been able to breathe at the same time when you're angry? You can't really breathe when you're angry. Anger, resentment, comparing, not feeling like you're good enough, not feeling worthy. I call this the self-critic. How many of you have a self-critic inside of yourself that speaks to you, and you can barely dissolve that self-critic sometimes with that authentic self? How many of you allow that self-critic to run you? We talked about expectations tonight, and when we put high expectations on self, what happens? And when we don't make those expectations, we get disappointed and we start to go down the rabbit hole of the operating system of fear, right? So there's context for everything. And I just want to share with you what I feel is most important in life to clear so that you can live life as your authentic self. And I want to share with you how I learned to unconditionally love, starting with my parents, right? How many of you, let me look in your eyes, have a level 10 relationship and love your mom and dad unconditionally? Let me see your faces. I can see every one of you. Tim Morrell, put that camera on. There you go. There we go. Level 10 with mom and dad, right? That means that you've done a lot of forgiveness work, because the little things that mom and dad were telling you when you were little boys and little girls, what you weren't good at, what you were good at, what all the different stories that you were told. How about your teachers? How about your teachers? Or the people in your life that were your influencers? That little things that they said you still carry around with you today, and it's in the back of your operating system without even knowing it. The things that we say to our children make a difference. Every word you say matters to them. They are the observers today of you. So what you say matters. It's an impact on them. And I have to tell you that living life where you're able to dissolve that self-critic and embody the self-love in you all starts with one thing, and that's forgiveness. And it's a mindful exercise every day. And you guys get to figure out what that mindful exercise is and giving yourself the time first, because you matter. You matter. Phone's going off. You matter, and you get to know how worthy you are. Every one of you make a difference in this world. Every one of you make a ripple in this world. The words you say, the thoughts you think, the emotions that you attach to your thoughts that come out of your lips matter to everyone. You make a difference in this world. And I honor each and every one of you, and I honor myself. And I must say, darling, mazel tov to each and every one of you, darlings, because you look simply fabulous on this Zoom call tonight. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy Kessler, for such an awesome speech on being or thinking about unconditional love. Timer, please, can you demonstrate the timing signal for this project? Oh, I think I'm sorry. Wait a second.
At 4 minutes.
Susanna Toledar, can you please provide us with the project information of our second speaker? Shay Greaves, Toastmaster Susanna.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sylvia. Shay Greaves will be talking about her pathway today, which is visionary communication, and she's at level 3, develop a communication plan, and her speech is going to be between 5 to 7 minutes. Her project title is Program Accountability. Shay will be providing us some detailed information in her speech tonight that our mentors and the clubs are aligned, and this will also help position the club to be formally introduced to our mentorship and allyship program. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susanna Toledar. Toastmaster Shay is going to deliver her speech on accountability. And she says, accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. Shay will give us a clear picture of what this looks like at the Club Wellington. So please welcome Toastmaster Shay Greaves.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Accountability, program accountability. Again, think about that. The glue that ties commitment to results. Now, that may sound serious, but it's important, and it actually doesn't have to feel that serious. It can be fun. I'm sharing my screen with you. Okay, program accountability. Now, some of you might be bouncing back and forth between two thoughts. The first thought meaning, you mean to tell me you're going to keep me accountable? Or second, brace yourself, accountability is coming. But accountability itself, as I said, doesn't have to feel that serious. It's fun and it's actually an opportunity. We'll delve into that in more depth. I'd like each one of you to reflect on a past goal or priority that you set in your life. Now, this could be within the last 3 to 6 months or a year, but I want you to reflect. If you need to, close your eyes so that this is not as distracting for you. Think about maybe if you had a point person. Did you do this journey alone? What did it feel like? Did you accomplish your intended goal? I'll give you some time to reflect on it. Okay, do you have it in mind? Is it clear, crystal clear for you? By a show of hands, you're going to respond to some questions for me. By a show of hands, how many of you completed at least 3 or 5 of all of your priorities or your goals? Show of hands. Okay, next question. How many of you accomplished this goal alone? Okay. By a show of hands, how many of you had a point person or 2 that helped you stay on track? That's what accountability is, guys. It's that person or that thing that helps you stay connected and on point. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with you. Hopefully this time it's a little bit smoother. Now, I'd have to agree with Jim from the office here. He says, truth be told, I think I thrive with a lack of accountability. But no, accountability is an opportunity. You get to be accountable. He gets to be accountable. She's accountable. Everyone's accountable. I'm mentioning 5 benefits of accountability. Helps you stay connected, keeps you responsible, accelerates your performance, validates your thoughts and ideas, and measures success and progress. So now let's get a little bit more specific to Wellington Toastmasters. Here at Wellington Toastmasters, we have 2 portions of accountability. 1, our mentorship program, and 2, our allyship program. Now, in our mentorship program, what it looks like is there are going to be weekly calls between you and your mentor where you get to talk about roles that either you're giving a speech or it's a functionary role within the meeting itself. The purpose of this is to support you along your journey, as these things will be new to you. And also it gives our mentors the opportunity to instill lessons and ideas and concepts that were relevant to them and their journey that might support you. In our first call, it would be about 30 minutes or so, just to give you a snapshot. And in that call, what you're going to be doing is first getting to know your mentor, breaking the ice. And then secondly, you're going to go through a checklist. But I have equipped our mentors with many tools so that they can support you as needed. But there's something for anyone in any stage of the journey. So for our veteran speakers, what we have in place is what I'm calling allyship. The same concept of weekly calls where you get to stay accountable to those things and goals that are most important to you. You get to first know each other in the first call, and weekly you get to ask each other new things that might have arise, or new things that you want to focus on, whether it be in your speech or in your role. Now, again, as I said, I have created specific tools to support you along the way, as well as a video to demonstrate mockly what it might look like for you. My purpose in showing you those means was just to let you know that accountability doesn't have to be so scary or something to cringe from. It's actually fun, an opportunity to connect, relate, and move along each side and champion each other's goals. In closing, I have a quote that I want to share. Treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he could be, and he will become what he should be. Ralph Waldo. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay Greaves, for such a wonderful speech. I love how you involve your audience, and thank you for informing us about how being accountable is not going to help us only to achieve our goals, but how we can help others in achieving their goals. Thank you again, and thank you to, now I would like to call upon Toastmaster Hyan as is evaluator number 3. Please provide us with the project information of our third speaker.
Certainly, Madam Toastmaster. The project that Justin is working on will introduce the value of mentorship and how Toastmasters view the relationship of mentor and mentee. The purpose of this project is to clearly define how Toastmasters envision mentorship program. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hyan Green. Toastmaster Justin Gwynn's speech topic is, what does a successful mentor look like? Justin's speech tonight is his last speech for the Level 2 Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. Please welcome Toastmaster Justin Gwynn.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sabia. I'd like to start off this evening by asking you all to please close your eyes. Close your eyes for a moment and try to imagine in your head the ideal mentor. Take a moment and try to get a picture of that person in your mind. What do they look like? Are they young? Are they old? Are they male? Are they female? Are they big or small? Are they professionally dressed or casually clothed? Do you have an image of a real person? One that you know that has served as a mentor for you in the past? Or are you picturing like an imaginary mentor superhero that's perfect for you and has all the right traits? What traits do they have? Are they an all-knowing genius? Are they caring and compassionate? If you're imagining multiple people, do those people have the same traits? You can all open your eyes now. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Like me, I'm sure many of you have had mentors at various stages in your life and for various aspects of your life. Work mentors, Toastmaster mentors, life coaches, etc. But what is it that makes a good mentor? My experiences and many of my successful mentors were vastly different from each other. But each one had one particular trait that stood out to me which made them a successful mentor. I'd like to tell you about a few of the great mentors that I've had in my life and the unique traits that each one of them had. Starting off with my current mentor and boss, a lady by the name of Dawn. Now, I've only been at my current firm for about 9 months, but it's been fantastic working with her. As my mentor, the one trait that she exhibits that I admire the most is respect. Successful mentors treat their mentees with respect. Just because you're someone's mentor doesn't make you better than them. Unfortunately, in some cases, mentors can feel a sense of entitlement, which may lead to appearing somewhat condescending to a mentee. This does not make for a successful mentorship. Dawn treats me with a great deal of respect. At this level and stage in my career, I feel like I've earned that, but make no mistake, every mentee deserves respect. Even as my boss, Dawn never acts like her time's more important than mine, or, you know, she'll literally move around her schedule to accommodate me. She even did so just this past week. Nothing says I'm more important than you than forcing your mentee to be consistently flexible around your schedule and canceling meetings with them. No, mentors must be respectful. Another recent mentor of mine was the one that I was assigned when I joined Toastmasters. Many of you know our fellow Toastmaster, Stephen Joy. Stephen was a great mentor for me. I really like Stephen because he always came prepared. I had set weekly calls with Stephen for the first several months after joining the club. In every call, it was very evident to me that he took the time to prepare for the meeting. He knew exactly what roles I just did, what I had coming up, where I was in my speech progress, everything. It wasn't just pick up the phone, hey, yeah, remind me again what you just did this past weekend, or what are you scheduled to do? What do you got coming up? No, it was never like that. He came prepared. He made an effort to continually be aware of my progress. He had already thought about what message he wanted to convey to me. He knew what questions I even might have and answered them before I even asked. He was totally on top of it. Mentors are prepared. In my previous company, there was an individual I worked with named Chandra. Chandra was not an assigned mentor, but rather one that just occurred more naturally over time. His greatest trait was his ability to show empathy. Empathy being the ability to understand or share the feelings of another. In order to be truly viewed as a mentor, it helps considerably when mentees know that you've been in their shoes. You follow the same path, you've been there before, here's what you learned and here's what advice you can get to them. But when your mentee is experiencing something that you haven't, being empathetic gives you the ability to understand, appreciate, and help guide them through whatever it is that they're dealing with. On multiple occasions, Chandra and I would have conversations throughout the day that would last an hour or more. He'd tell me stories and experiences and how they apply in the current situation. And even when I brought to him my own unique challenges, he would listen intently and work with me in developing a solution. Mentors show empathy. The last mentor I wanted to tell you about was one I had during my college years. I was the volunteer leader of a Christian youth group for high school kids called Young Life. I attended Young Life events throughout high school and became a volunteer leader when I went on to college. Brett was the head of the Young Life leader in the local area and served as a mentor to me when I became a leader. Brett had so many amazing qualities, it's really a disservice just to name one. But one specific trait that he had that made a very huge factor in being a successful mentor for me was that Brett was persistent. Mentors don't give up. They show up time and time again to guide their mentees down the right path. Mentees are going to make mistakes. They may even fail spectacularly. They may get burnt out. They may give up on themselves. But mentors don't do that. Great mentors keep coming after you when you keep going down the wrong path, and they're there to pick you up every single time you fall. My path to becoming a Christian and a Young Life leader was a rocky one, but Brett was literally there every step. Mentors are persistent. Now, at the beginning of this speech, I asked you all to close your eyes and get an image of a person in your mind of a mentor. I want to close out and briefly show you the images that I see in my mind whenever I think of a mentor. This is Dawn, my current mentor and boss. Our good friend Stephen Joy here. Many of you know him. This is my great colleague, Chandra. And here's my good old friend, certainly last but not least, Brett. As you can see, they all look very different. Young, old, male, female, big, small, professionally dressed and casually clothed. Mentors come and go, but the traits they exhibit have impacts that last a lifetime. Thank you all.
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin, and thank you for sharing your wonderful experiences of your wonderful mentors and sharing the common traits they must have is respect, empathy, and persistence. Now we'll move on to the second part of our meeting today. Before that, can I please have a brief timers report?
All speeches were within the allotted time.
Thank you, Toastmaster Matthews. Okay, and at this time, I would really encourage everyone, if you would like to give your suggestions or any feedback for the speakers, please provide them in the private chat box. Thank you. So the second section of our meeting is table topics. This is an opportunity for members to develop their extemporaneous speaking skills. This is impromptu speaking. Guests are also encouraged. So Michelle and Woodland, would you like to participate in today's table topics? Okay. Today, we have table topic master David Perez. I'm sorry, I again threw another role on someone all of a sudden. So please welcome topic master David Perez.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Good evening, everybody. Let me pull this great. Toastmaster of the day. The topic master gives members who are not assigned a significant speaking role the opportunity to speak during the meeting. I challenge each member with a subject, and they respond with 1 2-minute improv talk. Please pay attention to the time signals and utilize as much of these 2 minutes as you can. Our timer will demonstrate the timing signals now. Timer.
I'll display the green card at 1 minute. Let me get the green card. The yellow card at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and the red card at 2 minutes. I'll clap off the speaker at 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
Thank you, timer. So the way we're gonna do it today is I'm going to read a quote, and I will expect for you to give me your thoughts for about, like timer said, 1 or 2 minutes. And the first quote goes like this: "Silly me, expecting too much from people again. Silly me, expecting too much from people again." Dear guest, Michelle.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, Toastmaster of the Day, Sylvia, and table topic host, David Perez. Expecting someone to do something for me has always been a challenge. Accepting when they do it for me is really rewarding. I just had an experience with my employer, and it made me realize that expect nothing from no one. Do your best. Become creative when you are in certain circumstances, and try to avoid expecting people to help you in any way. It is not to become dependent on myself, but to understand that everyone, they have unique problems of their own, and so they are not always able to help you with yours. So that particular quote really fell directly in my lap, and it reminds me again and again that I should not expect anything from anyone but myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's proceed to the next one. Don't expect things to happen. It's better to feel surprised than being disappointed. Don't expect things to happen. It's better to feel surprised than being disappointed. Toastmaster team.
Wow, that's a good one, Mr. Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, friends of Toastmasters visiting us tonight. I had a high school teacher who told me that. Just not to have expectations, and you won't be disappointed when it doesn't come along. And on the other hand, if something good comes along, then wow, you're excited. And that was a long, long time ago. I hate to think how long ago high school was for me, but that is probably one of the most profound things that ever was said to me. And it's stuck with me all of these years because I think well, first of all, I'm a little bit of a Christmas nut. And anybody wants to see that, just go to christmaspin.com someday and that's a little website that I've had for about 17 years. I make Christmas pins. I have always been I try to find the best in people, and I don't want to be disappointed in people. So I don't have expectations. I don't have expectations of a situation. I just know that I'm going to do whatever I can do, and that's all I can control. One of the things I've passed along to my two sons is that when you wake up in the morning, the only thing that you can control is whether you're going to be happy about it. Your attitude, that's really all you can control. What's going to happen out there is going to happen. There's good luck, there's bad luck. I don't want to, I refuse to blame stuff like that. You just don't know. All you can do is all you can do. And if you don't have any expectation one way or another, you just go with it. When it happens the way you want it to happen, that's great. But the sun doesn't come up tomorrow. Nobody has a lock on that. I mean, there's no way you can promise that the sun's going to rise tomorrow. The betting odds, if you're a Vegas guy, well, hey, the betting odds are the sun's coming up tomorrow, but nobody has a lock on that. And so I just find the best way to go through life is just the way you're talking about there, David. Don't have that expectation, good or bad. Just do it.
Thank you for that, Toastmaster team. Great. Next one. When you meet your own expectations, is satisfaction. When you meet your own expectations, is satisfaction. Javier.
First of all, can you hear me? Hello?
I can now.
I guess I
Go ahead.
Yes, now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Toastmaster David. Can you please repeat the question? When I meet one of my expectations, what do I feel?
Absolutely. When you meet your own expectations, is satisfaction.
Toastmaster David, when I meet my expectations, it brings satisfaction. And I think we have been talking all night long about lowering your expectations to not be disappointed. However, I still believe that there are some rooms for setting some expectations to not be complacent. And it's those times where we raise the bar, where we challenge ourselves, when we want to do something better that we think we can do. That is what makes us grow. And once in a while you'll fail and you'll be disappointed. But it's those little moments that you do succeed that makes you keep raising the bar and keep growing. And I would like to bring an analogy. Just probably was playing golf. I go out to the range and I'm very terrible, but there's always that one shot that makes me come back. Toastmaster David.
Thank you for that. Great answer. Let's move on to the next one. The secret of happiness is low expectations. The secret of happiness is low expectations. Or guess Woodling. Woodling. Come on, man. Right now we all have low expectations because you're a guest, so it's good for you.
Yeah, so.
Hey, I give it to you, Harry.
Did you call me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, good evening, Wellington Toastmasters, dignitary Heon. Nobody recognized her. Shame on y'all. I'm surprised that we've been talking about expectations and we've been kind of putting it in a negative connotation. for me, for me, expectations has always been positive. Positive as in, it's allowed me to paint a picture of my goals. So I expect myself to be a certain way in the next 5 years. When I'm training somebody or I'm giving somebody their job description, I expect them to do the responsibilities that they were given. When I expect myself to have this dream house, this dream car, this dream job, this dream career that I have. And if I feel like if I don't have expectations, how can I paint that picture for myself? So expectations, not always negative. You can use it in a positive way also. As far as happiness, I get happiness when I arrive at my expectations. So if I expect myself to finish something or do something on a given date and I complete that, then I'm happy. I'm happy to do that. Maybe in the future, I have a different kind of perspective, different kind of way of thinking. People's perspective always changes in life, and I'm sure that a lot of people who are older than me will tell me that. So we just have to wait and see. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
that.
Contest Master, Table Topics Master.
All right, Summer, do we have time for one more?
We have time for one more.
Yes.
One more. Okay, great. So when you release expectations, you are free to enjoy things for what they are instead of what you think they should be. When you release expectations, you are free to enjoy things for what they are instead of for what you think they should be. And I will give this one to our dignitary. Young Green, can you do it?
I am evaluating Justin.
Oh, okay, okay. So Gary.
Thank you, Topics Master David. A perfect example of how releasing expectations allows things to just happen. And I know Henry had some great points about having expectations. When I go out into the forest to go hunting, one of the things that I try not to do is have any expectations of how I expect the time out in nature to go. If my entire trip is based on the outcome and what I expect to happen, then I'm a lot more likely to be disappointed, because I know that there's a very low chance of me being successful. And although I go out with the intention of being successful every trip, I don't go out with the sole purpose of my happiness being defined by the success of the trip. To me, just having the opportunity to be out in nature and taking the time to breathe the fresh air and admire the beauty that's around us, just those aspects is more than enough for me. And whether or not any of the other aspects of the trip come together, I always end up having a wonderful time just being in solitude, in the fresh air, listening to the sounds around me and taking everything in. Thank you, Topics Master David.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gary. It was very good. Enjoy the process, right? Toastmaster Summer, were all the participants in the allotted time?
All the participants were within the allotted time.
Great. Well, that concludes my part. Thank you very much. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster David Perez, for helping us out in today's meeting. Toastmaster Gary Newberg, can we vote at this time for Best Speaker and Best Table Topic Masters?
Yes.
Am I going to repeat the names, or they will appear on the screen?
They will appear on the screen. So we will only be voting for 2 speakers this evening, because Toastmaster Stacy's speech was an icebreaker. Okay. 2 seconds. Okay, great. Thank you. We will now be voting for the table topics speakers for this evening. Okay. We'll give it another 5 seconds. If you haven't voted, if you could please do that for us. Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gary Newper. Okay. Fellow Toastmasters, now we'll move on to the third section of our meeting, which is evaluations, the gift of instant feedback, and this is one of the very essential part of the success of Toastmasters program. Please welcome Toastmaster Shastri Stewart as our general evaluator this evening. Toastmaster Shastri.
Thank you, Toastmaster. All right, without any further ado, I'll be introducing our evaluators tonight. So evaluating Toastmaster Stacy Kessler will be Connie Andrews. Connie Andrews evaluating Stacy Kessler.
Good evening. Stacy, you are a professional messenger. Your body language this evening, I noticed you were standing up. I think that when a speaker stands up, even though we're not actually seeing your whole body, it makes a difference with the way that you are bringing your, you're holding your head and your shoulders back and your arms out, inviting the audience into what you are saying. Your passion is exemplary. Even though sometimes things may go over our heads, your passion is so obvious that you still are able to engage us and help us keep going to like, okay, let's see what else she says about this. I love when you ask questions. I think that that is a great way of engaging an audience. And as part of your speech, you said, how many of you have learned to unconditionally love? You know, and you looked at everybody's face, and I think you even made Tim go live to do that for you. So that's great. Everybody was listening. Even the people that weren't live came on live after you said that. I like the idea of a mindful exercise every day. And your closing with honoring us, darling, was wonderful at the end of the speech. So as part of this, Stacy had asked to watch her organization, keeping it super simple and keeping the speech relatable to her audience. So yeah, I think keeping it super simple and concise, maybe, you know, starting with a question is a great place to start. You may want to work on that, on starting with asking questions rather than the way that you started this evening. I also felt like taking your glasses off. I really felt like that chain was really taking away from what you were saying. I wanted to like the chain to stop moving and listen to what you're saying. So opening your start with how many of you have a self-critic? And I think that would tune in perfectly with the title of your speech, because we all do suffer from that self-critic within us all. And as far as challenging yourself, you know, just keep challenging to keep everything that you say relatable. And I know that you have so much to say and so much passion. you know, you want even the analytics, even the humorous people to get what you're saying in our Toastmasters. So continue what you're doing. You're doing great. It was a great icebreaker.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you for that insightful evaluation. So our next evaluator, evaluating Shay Greaves, is Sujana. Sujana, evaluating Shay Greaves.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sastry. I love the way you portrayed, build the background for something. I don't want to use the word boring, but you know, like whenever there's details or facts involved, you don't get that engagement, but you portrayed the beautiful story before you dive into the details, right? And you even made a statement, a strong statement when you open up the speech saying accountability doesn't have to be serious, it can be fun. So we are already anticipating fun when you said that. And you used few techniques, which was very good. You ask us to reflect on few things like back 3 to 6 months. That is a very good strategy. And you pause, right? So that audience had time to reflect on their thoughts of what they are thinking. And then you came back and asked us additional questions, right? About the goals, about the accomplishment. Those were all very great strategy. And you also made it interactive in the same speech. People were raising their hands, they were nodding to your questions. So you got the engagement right there. The only area to improve, I would think, I would suggest is be aware of the side, you know, like when you switch to the slide, I was anticipating like what is going on. I did not know you were about to show us some slides, so there was a little awkward silence. So maybe I think it would benefit when you are about to move on to the next step, just let your audience know what's coming. That will really help. Overall, it was a really good, it was a great technique to share something informative, something boring, but in a fun way. You found the hook, you connected accountability, accountability with informative information on the mentorship and also allyship. And you also carve out some of the details on, you know, like 30 minutes call, what's out there for everybody, you know, not just for the new members, for the veterans as well. These are all the details that was wrapped up really great. Overall, a very good speech. Thank you, Toastmaster Sastry.
Thank you, Sujana. Excellent job. Our next evaluator, evaluating Justin Gwynn, is Jan Green. Jan Green, evaluating Justin Green. Gwynn, I'm sorry.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and of course, especially Justin. Congratulations, by the way, on completing level 2 and moving to level 3. And I was excited about the prospect of evaluating you, and especially about the title of your speech. What does a successful mentor look like? I really wanted to learn what a successful mentor looked like. There are many things you have done, many ways that you put to use all the Toastmaster skills you have learned so far, but I'm going to highlight 3. First, you made us think about an ideal mentor. Most of us could remember and recollect an ideal mentor. So that was an easy but effective grabber. Number 2, you used the technique of make a point, tell a story effectively. You made a point of mentor having to respect his or her mentee, and you used the story of your mentor, Dawn, and which was a wonderful story. And I will remember that story for a long time. So that was a wonderful technique that you employed, make a point, tell a story. And the third one, at the end, you even used a dramatic hand gesture to make a point when you said, yeah, you threw up your hands and you said, even though they failed spectacularly. And I was a little surprised to see that in you, but you can really make a point with your dramatic hand gesture. Well done, Justin. And there are two suggestions I want to offer to make your speech even better. One, pause. Use the pause effectively. When you are listing the qualities, is he genius? Is he caring? Is he compassionate? What about giving half a second pause in between so that we can process the words you were saying? And the second one is the speed of your speech. It goes with pausing a little bit, but if you have slowed a little bit, then I would have been able to observe the 100% of your message. But as usual, thank you so much for coming to the meeting with all the best you can bring to the club. I learned a lot today from your speech. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jan. Awesome evaluation as always. All right, now moving on. Timer, may I please have the timer's report on speech evaluations? Or did everyone meet the time?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Summer. All right, now we will vote, Gary. Are you ready? Okay, perfect.
Okay.
We'll give everyone 10 seconds. All right. I think that's it. We said, Gary?
Yes,
Good,
thank
perfect.
you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, sir. All right. Now to our functionary roles. Grammarian, Henry, are you ready with your report?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, so apologies if I missed any notable phrases or I missed somebody's word. The first part of the meeting, there was a lot of construction. Stacy did acknowledge Heian in the beginning, so I corrected that. Okay, so the word prospect was properly used 4 times during the meeting. I heard the following grammatical errors. Y'all should be you all. I'm gonna, I'm going to. Is more than should be changed to are more than. Notable words and phrases, effective uses of rhetorical devices. I heard the notable words and phrases. Accountability can be fun. You get accountability, you get accountability, everybody gets accountability. Mentors are prepared, mentors don't give up. Mentors are persistent. Mentors come and go, but their impact lasts a lifetime. That concludes my grammarian's report, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Henry. Great job, sir. And our counter, Mark, are you ready with your report, sir?
Righto, mate. Yes, we are here. Let's go about this then,
Okay.
General Evaluator. The total number of fillers used by the club today was 57. The most filler used by a member, 15. The most commonly used filler today was The following Toastmasters did not use any of the following words during the meeting. Tim, Stacy. That concludes my R counter report, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, English Mark. Always so interesting and entertaining. All right, so on to my report. Did the meeting start on time? Yes. Guests were welcomed. I did miss to introduce our guests at the beginning though, so that's something that we get to improve on moving forward. And Stacy, thank you for acknowledging our dignitary, Jan. Now, did the Toastmaster today lead the group in applause? I would say an astounding yes. Sophia did an excellent job leading applause. Great job. Meeting roles were explained. What I think we probably could have improved on though was our
Shastri, I think we lost you.
I can hear you.
We cannot hear you.
Shastri. He's just going. Thanks.
Shastri, nothing.
Everybody put your hands up. Woo, Shastri.
Shastri,
We can't hear you.
we lost you.
He might be the one thinking, why is everybody's going crazy?
He's trying to fix it.
While Shastri is trying to fix that, we could announce the winners for the evening so long. Okay, so for our speaker of the evening, well, we'll give a round of applause again to Stacy for her icebreaker speech. And for our first place speaker of the evening, let's give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Justin Gwynn. For our, thank you, Stacy. For our table topics speaker of the evening, give a warm round of applause to Toastmaster Gary. And last but not least, for our evaluator for the evening, let's give a warm round of applause to Toastmaster Heon Green. Great job tonight, everyone. So, looks like Shastri is back, so we'll see if he's got his audio working.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, for some reason my phone just got disconnected. So something we could improve on, right? Apologize for that. All right, where was I? Hold on a second. Oh, now I'll make this real quick since. So I'm talking about a table topics master. So yes, David did an awesome job at being table topics master. He stated the theme. But what I would like to see in future meetings is to call on our members first before we call on our guests. But overall, your delivery, your topics were on point. Superb job, David. Our table topics participant was also very eloquent, especially Javier. You did an awesome job, and Tim Morrell, and also Henry. Great job, and also our guest, Michelle. Great job, guys. Speech evaluators, you guys did an awesome job. Connie, you did a fabulous job. Your smile just radiated. I mean, if your face radiated joy any more, we probably would have to wear sunglasses. And we had Jan Green, as always, an expert evaluator, did an awesome job providing key points to Justin. And we had Sujana, who evaluated Shay Greaves, who also provided key points and key takeaways so that he could improve on future speeches. Overall, everyone did an awesome job. Our grammarian, Henry, Awesome job in listening and providing great feedback and things that we need to correct. Mark, thank you for that exquisite English accent. Thank you so much. That concludes my evaluation section of the meeting. I'll pass the meeting back to our Toastmaster of the day, Sobia Saeed.
Thank you, President Toastmaster Shastri Stewart. And I would like to acknowledge one thing. I noticed that light several times. Maybe I used a lot of crutches, but I hope everybody else did notice that too. And also again, Henry and David for filling in the roles for me at the 11th hour. Thank you so much. At this time, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will conclude our meeting. It has been my pleasure to serve you as the Toastmaster of the day. Please welcome back our President, Shastri Stewart.
Yes, and I will yield my time to our President of Education, Shay Greaves.
Thank you, President Shastri. I just wanted to acknowledge a bunch of our members. First of all, the club. It's always a supportive atmosphere, and I appreciate what you bring to every meeting. But more specifically, I want to acknowledge Sujana and Connie for helping me with our education journey. Also, Toastmaster Justin Gwen for helping me create the video and get our tools together to support the club as we're moving forward into the last quarter of the year, believe it or not. I'd like to also acknowledge Henry Dow for getting our YouTube video, our YouTube channel up and our Instagram up. So if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. It's a great way to review our speeches and also to look at strengths in other speakers and the overall quality of our meeting. So I just wanted to bring your focus in there. Oh, and also Sobia. Sobia, you have dived in well, completely. I don't know how to complete the expression, but first of all, as our Toastmaster of the day, but as also learning and adopting with Henry, supporting Henry in the PR committee. So it's been extremely helpful, and you've learned so quickly and adopted so well. So I just wanted to go ahead and give those acknowledgements. And also for our first contest online on Zoom. So I just want to show great appreciation to the club for the growth and the way that we've leaned into what is transition, what could be uncomfortable. We've all handled it very well. As Stacy would say, with grace and ease. So just thank you so much.
All right, one more thing I forgot to mention is really acknowledge our guests. So I'd like to reach out to Woodland. Hey, Woodland, could you tell us a little bit about our meeting and what you thought of our meeting and how we as Toastmasters could improve your life?
I thought the meeting was good, and I think I could improve on my confidence. That's it.
Thank you, Woodland. And just recognize that this is a platform, a club where you come to fail with a family, with a supportive group. So you don't have to be afraid to speak your mind. Okay, you matter. So I want you to know that. Please join us not next week, but the week after. We'd love to have you. Michelle?
What was the question again? Sorry.
Shastri,
you muted.
Well,
The question is, the question is, are you going to join our club? And the second question is, how can Toastmasters, Wellington Toastmasters, improve your life?
Yes, I did speak with the treasurer today, so I have to make a call a little later to get that taken care of. And Toastmaster has already, even as a guest, improved my life. I just like the ambiance that you guys have here. And as Stacy alluded to, being so self-critical, I am that. I am that. So I really, really want to learn how to motivate myself, how to be more organized. I think I have words in here and I really want to be more organized. So this is what Toastmaster, I believe, will help me to stop being so self-critical and take criticism with a little, pinch of salt, and organize myself to speak, and be deliberate in what I say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. And I'm glad to hear that you will be joining our club because your accent is always welcomed as a fellow Caribbean. And a few announcements I wanted to mention. I know that we are a little bit over time. I really wanted to stay within time, but I think these announcements are very important. So September 24th, we have our evaluation contest. So we need judges, we need a chair, we need evaluators. I'll be one of the evaluators for that contest.
Correction. That's
next week.
September 24th.
No, the 24th. The 24th.
Oh, it's a Monday,
yeah.
though. Oh.
Isn't it the 24th? Wait a minute. Let me look. Oh, I'm sorry. The 21st. I keep saying the 24th. The 21st. Yes, the 21st. And next week we have no meeting. And then also dues are due end of September. So please get a hold of Jack if you have not paid your dues. Please, we want to get that in before the 30th of September. All right, that is all for me. Everyone have a wonderful evening. The executive team, please stay for our executive meeting.
Good night, everyone.
Goodbye. Have a good week.
Good evening, everyone. Bye-bye. Good to see you all.
Bye, everybody. Have a happy Labor Day.
Bye.
Shay, I think I'm going to make you